Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis. Know that we've been loyal way back from the beginning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas, what it is, what it do. Just Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis. Know that we've been loyal even when we wasn't winning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas in your ears. You. Just Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis. Know that we've been loyal.
What is going on, Bears fans? Welcome back to another edition of 79th Halas, man. I am your host, Scott. Filling in for my brother Flows. This is the one and only J.R. Bang, co-host of Some Do Podcast, first black champ, and I'm not going to hold you here to join. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in to our off-season series, 4-part off-season series. We are here for part 3. In each part we've done, my background has gotten more and more impressive as each episode. We are finally done with my podcast studio. So, but episode 3, man, you can follow us at Barbchair Scott, at JR Bang, at 79th Halas. If you're watching this on a Monday, that means you are a loyal Patreon subscriber, and we appreciate you. If you're watching this on a Friday, so like 7 days later after we're recording this, you subscribe to the damn Patreon so you can get episodes early, not just now before the end season coming up. That is patreon.com/Barbershare Network. If you are not on your phone, where you can click the link, you can scan your phone on the TV that you're watching it, scan the QR code, and it'll take you right to all of the different tiers. If you subscribe to the 79th Halas tier, the $5 one, or the Barbershop Access $10 fee, you get these and other things early, man. So shout out to everybody. Also subscribe to my personal YouTube page. We got a lot of great content on there, people. A lot of great content at Barbchair Scott. So, bang, as we are recording this, we are 11 days from report day for the Chicago Bears. News dropped today. Ryan Poles is going nowhere as he's got a contract extension through 2029 and line up with new head coach Ben Johnson, which this got to be a first because I got
making announcements.
Right, exactly. I got 2 alerts at the same time. The Ian Rappaport alert and Mikey sent it in the group chat. And so I was like, oh shit. I was like, when the last time they announced anything from coaches or front office? But what's your thoughts on the extension and how you feeling with just 11 days left?
Well, it made sense to extend him once you did what you did with getting the new head coach. And if this new head coach was aligned with what he has going on, then it made sense to put them both together. And that's just essentially what happened. Does his record really say contract extension? No. But the last 2 years, including adding Caleb Williams to the fold, now you have Ben Johnson and his coaching staff coming in, and what they've done in the last 2 off seasons. I understand it, but what it does to me is make me feel like they're all in and they're happy with what they're seeing, not just from Poles, but they're happy with the trajectory of this team. Maybe it's some things that we've not seen yet because all we've done is go through OTAs. We got 11 days before we get to training camp, but they must see something in this building that says we need to keep things, not only we need to keep everybody together, but this is a new day and just what you're doing and announcing that this man is sticking around. So it actually makes me feel a bit more comfortable in what I feel like the ceiling is or the sky is for this team. Because I don't think they would have did that if they were a little bit iffy on things. They wouldn't have did this if Ben was iffy on some things. They do this only when you realize or you feel like that you have everybody in the right position to make this train go.
Yeah, I agree 100%. To me, this says stability. Something that I feel like the franchise has been needing for a long time, something the fan base has been asking for a long time. And really, I feel like you're really slowly starting to see Kevin Warren's influence, like these last 7-8 months. with everything, the way the Ben Johnson hiring was even handled. There was no bullshit. There was no, oh, well, they're having problems with, coming together with the contract fee. We had no problems with that. And I feel like this is just the beginning, not beginning, but one of the many steps of seeing that hopefully this is a new Bears regime. And then also to me, it kind of brings accountability because now we know that Ryan Poles is going to do everything he can. He's not going to cut any corners to build this team to be a championship winning team because he knows his ass is on the line now. This is your head coach. This is your quarterback. This is everything is lined up for you. And I even said I did an episode of Scott Reacts before we came on here, and I said that, if you look at, a table setter, he set this table up perfectly for Caleb and for Ben Johnson to succeed. I can't remember the last time I was a Bears fan where I had a list of things I wanted to accomplish in the off season, and 95% of them was accomplished. So, now it's on the players, it's on him. So I think that's a good sign. And now we ain't got to be in the media asking dumbass questions about, well, is he lined up or the QB in the coach line, which is what we were asking for at the end of I'm Not Gonna Hold You at the end of football season. How many times you, Mikey, Dante, like, are they aligned? You need alignment, and it feels like they finally got it here, man. So let's get into the topic of this episode. So in our first two episodes, man, episode 1, me and Joe did the marriage of the Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson thing. How is that going to work? In episode 2, we did a full depth breakdown of the NFC North opponents. Today, we're going to do the top 10 most important Bears in 2025 in order for this team to succeed. So I've got a list of Bears players. At least I got my team. What I've got, I got it in order, and then I've got the list. And if I don't know if you can put it in your order, however order you want to put it, or if there's any players I don't have in there that you want to add to that list, go crazy. So I just want put the guidelines there. That to me, these are 10 Bears that have to have good seasons in order for the Bears to have a good season. And what I mean by good season is make the playoffs, man. So I'm gonna start off with number 10. My number 10 most important Bear in 2025 is rookie tight end Colston Loveland, who the Bears drafted with their first draft pick period in the draft. And I say that because when you're in the situation that you're in right now with the year 2 quarterback, with the offensive minded head coach, and just the way that how tight end production has been these last couple of years, and not to say that Cole Kmet has been bad, because he hasn't. I think Cole Kmet has been a real serviceable tight end in the league. But you're going to need to have that bounce. If you're going, and I think that was a pick that nobody really saw coming. I don't think anybody thought we were going tight end in the first round, especially not Colston Loveland. Maybe Tyler Warren or something like that. So just by default, he's got to have a good season, because if you look at the Ben Johnson offenses, and man, I don't know if you've seen season 2 of quarterback yet, but he's really you can see how Ben Johnson loves to use his tight ends, as how Jared Goff had a relationship with his tight ends. That's gonna have to need to be the same thing here as well. So I'm gonna have to go number 10, be Colston Loveland. Number 9, going Roschon Johnson. I know a lot of fans aren't too keen on Roschon Johnson. It was kind of a weird pick when it happened a couple years ago. I even remember it was a day 3 pick. It was a day 3 pick. It was a Kansas City draft. I think only stayed the first 2 days in Kansas City, if I remember correctly. And all we kept hearing was, oh, he's just as good as Bijan, which obviously was bullshit. It was bullshit then. It was even more bullshit about him being on the same level as Bijan. But in order to have, it goes back to what we know about Ben Johnson's offense. They have the 2-headed monster in the running back room. When you have the David Montgomery, you have the Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, granted, last season, I'll probably say was, 60-40 Jahmyr Gibbs and Demo, because I feel like Jahmyr really stepped up to the next level last year. But you're going to need him to be very, very important, very impressive. And I think one thing that we've seen from the front office, they've said it themselves without completely throwing Eagles under the bus, by basically admitting that he was used wrong. My biggest issue with Roschon Johnson is that he's got heavy ass feet and he runs like me. But you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I do believe he was used wrong. And also, you also gotta grade the running game on a curve because of how bad the offensive line was. So, babe, what do you think about my first two players that I've got, and where would you kind of rank them in importance?
Um, I'm not sure of Roshan being ninth. And with Loveland, actually late in the draft week, there was rumblings that the Bears was going tight end. And they loved the Loveland more than they loved the other dude. But I think I'm not there with those two being in the top 10 because of where, like, as I'm writing mine down right now, I am looking at a couple of other players that I feel like that probably should be in that spot
Okay. Well,
before
we'll get to
those
your
guys.
list. I don't want to mess up your rating process, so I'll go through the rest of mine. So for eight, I've got Grady Jarrett. Now, I don't know if you've seen that Instagram video the Bears put up yesterday with baby pictures. By the way,
Yeah.
hilarious. That was probably one of their best reels that they've done. When everybody on the team knew it was Grady Jarrett because he had an old ass picture. That shit was fucking funny. But Grady Jarrett is my number 8 because we know how bad this defensive line was last year. I don't know if I'll call it quote unquote bad. It was just not a explosive defensive line. They actually had way more sacks than I actually thought, and way more than it felt being at those games, or if you're watching those games on TV. But I think if you're getting the money that Grady has gotten, if you're coming in to help Montez Sweat, take some pressure off him, help Gervon take it to the next level, have Dio take it to the next level. I'm going to need a lot from Grady. One thing we know about Grady coming off the injury, he had a great season last year. He is a leader. He's been in big games. So I'm gonna need him to go out there and help, because this, to me, I don't want to call a defensive line by committee, but it's not the star-studded defensive line that I think we're used to as Bears fans. And if they're gonna even be marginally better than they were last season, he's gonna have to play a big factor in that one. Number 7, I'm going Uno, Mr. Jalen Johnson. I don't know if he's the highest paid player on the team or one of the highest paid players on the team. He had his best last 2 years. I think Jalen's last 2 years have been his best years of his career. He's actually getting interceptions now, which is a big thing. Early in his career, you kept saying, "Oh, he's a good cornerback," but he's not a playmaking cornerback. Jalen has become a playmaker the last 2 years. And if you look at the different phases of this team, the secondary is far the one that I'm the most set with. I think the biggest question marks on the secondary is, can Tyree Stevenson actually bounce back from last year? And can Jaquan Brisker keep his fucking head on their shoulders? Besides that, I really don't have any questions. So I just need Jalen to continue to beat you. What did Matt Nagy always say? Be you. I don't need Jalen to make any changes. Just continue to be you. Don't have a drop off, and get ready to continue to make those plays. Because I don't want this to be a thing we look back on Jalen's career like, yeah, those 2 years he was great with getting turnovers, but overall he was just a solid cornerback. So I'm gonna need Jalen to keep doing what he's doing. So I got Jalen in number 7. Number 6, newly braided Roma Dunze. I need my boy Romulus to have a great season. Last year was not his fault. And honestly, he had way more yards than I thought he did. I was like, this motherfucker had 700 yards? Like, where the fuck that come from? So, Rome needs to be big. Because remember, even now, when people's like, oh, you should have drafted offensive lineman. Why you going wide receiver? And to me, it was a little bit of money more than quarterbacking for that as well. Because we'd have been mad too if they went offensive lineman. Bears fans, we ain't got to lie. We'd have been like, how many times the Bears never go offense? Go offense. So he needs to back it up. He needs to come out there and be like, okay, and this is just not just him. This is the entire offense. We were coached by fucking idiots. I'm going to show you why I was drafted this high. I'm going to show you what I did in Washington, and I'm going to show you what I look like with the great wide receiver coach in Antoine Randall, who's also assistant like associate head coach. I didn't know that was his title. And
Yep.
I looked it up one day. I was like, he's doing a lot more talking than position coaches. So I just I googled. I went to the team site and I'm like, let me see if he got a different title. Associate head coach. Shout out to Chicago's Antoine Randall. So I need Rome to join the ranks of the guys he was drafted with, other wide receivers he was drafted with, to be able to take this team to the next level. Number 5, Mr. DJ Moore. We're in the top 5 now, people. Mr. DJ Moore. DJ Moore, who was, I want to say, the crown jewel of this rebuild because of the straight up fleecing that Ryan Poles did of Carolina. I know some of y'all out there who said, oh, it really wasn't the fleece. Look at Carolina. I mean, Carolina was better than we thought they would be last year, but Carolina's not good. If you went to the Carolina Panthers right now and asked them to do the trade over again, they would do it and wouldn't think twice. So let's cut that nonsense out right there. The DJ Moore, and to me, this goes back to what I said wrong. Last year for DJ, his problem wasn't the production, because for what he was asked to do, he did it. I know for a fact Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle, that whole offensive squad they got up there is not going to have my man out here running back plays like the Flukes and them niggas was doing last year. That is just not going to happen. So, but what I need a little bit more leadership quality from him. I'm not going to go full meatball and say, I don't like the body language. I don't really care too much about body language, because if you look at fans' body language during the games, ours isn't the best. I have to work on my body language in the press booth. So I just want him to step up, be a little bit more of a leader than before. And he's got to go out there and say, and we got to look at him like, okay, this is why you put him in the elite class. Basically what he did in 2023, I need that, but a little bit more on top. So I'm going to go for 5. I'm going to go DJ Moore. Number 4, DeAndre Swift. And here's why I have that. We keep going back to the running game thing. DeAndre Swift had like 900 yards rushing last year. I think he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. A touchdown that probably should have been a game winner in that Washington game last year, but whatever. He's got to continue to do well with a better offensive line. A lot of people wanted him gone, and I felt it during OTAs when he was talking to us. He was pissed off. He was pissed off about people talking about him and saying he need to go. He's not that good of a running back. You know, Ben Johnson's going to get rid of him like he got rid of him in Detroit. He's got a big chip on his shoulder. And I think considering the situation, I'm going to say this for every offensive guy, he did a solid job. But if he can go out there and be the guy that we saw in Philadelphia, be the guy that we saw in Detroit, you add that on with just a little bit of Roschon Johnson, this can be a deadly running game for the Bears. But if he goes out there and has a bad game or bad season, now you're kind of in a fucked up position if you're the Bears, because now you need to figure out that running back room again. And if there's anything we know from Ben Johnson offense, running back is a major part of what they do. So I'm going to go DeAndre Swift at number 4. We into the top 3 now, people. Top 3 is the man that will be on the cover of this episode. Montez Sweat is number 3. Montez Sweat, you traded him, got him from Washington 2 seasons ago. He had a monster year in 2023, 12 sacks, 6 with the Commanders, 6 with the Bears, and he was out there making big play after big play after big play. Last year, only 5 sacks, did not have the same pressure that he did the year before. Now, he was beat up, not injured to the fact we couldn't play the games. But we all know players are always injured regardless, but it was to the point where he wasn't his usual self. But I also feel part of it was he had little to no help on that defensive line, and that's why I have Grady Jarrett on this list. But he needs to step up and show that he's worthy of the money, show that he is a game changer, and not the questions that a lot of fans have, a lot of medias have, is Montez just the guy? Because I don't know if we've answered that question yet. He might just be a guy, and maybe we're asking too much from him from what he's getting paid. And I know everybody brings up Tez's contract. Compared to other pass rushers in the NFL, he's not getting paid that much. It just sounded crazy at the time, because when was the last time we seen the Bears trade somebody and pay them right away in midseason? So I feel like that was something new for the fan base. But he has got to have an impressive year. And to me, I need 10, bro. I need 10 sacks. I need 10 sacks to really feel like, okay, Ted's here. This is good. So We're in the top 2 right now. Number 2, the entire Bears offensive line. The entire Bears offensive line. It's not just one, not just Joe Tooney, not just who's my man, Dahlman, whoever. All of them motherfuckers need to have a great season. We have not had a great. I'm talking about throwing niggas out the club offensive line since Olin Kreutz, Ruben Brown, Roberto Garza, that crew before Jay Cutler got pulverized 80 times a season. We need that. We can even get a half of that. I think this is going to be a phenomenal season. We've seen the things that Caleb can do when he actually has protection. I don't have the stat in front of me, but I saw a stat where his numbers with actual protection are like Mahomes level. So if you can just get half of that, that's going to be good. And also, you got to prove your Joe Tooney the contract you just got. You got who's my man that guy from the Rams? Johnson. What's his first name? I don't know.
Jonah Jackson.
Jonah Jackson. Was it just the injury thing in Los Angeles and that you were really worth of the contract that you got from the Rams? You know what I'm saying? Drew Dahlman, got a big time check. He was the first signing within like 5 minutes. And we all knew that was coming like 2 days before. You were Pole's guy. Can you justify that contract? Will Braxton Jones have another chance? Because I don't know. Ozzie had a solid, OTAs to me. And we know he's going to have a legitimate shot to win this position during camp. And I don't know about you. I ain't heard no updates on Braxton Jones' condition. So I don't know if he's even going to be ready for the beginning of the camp. And even if he is ready for the beginning of camp, you sat out all of the offseason workouts. He's going to be behind the 8 ball. So if he does get a chance, what are you going to do with it? So that's why I've got the entire Bear. They are the key to this fucking season. And I probably should have put them number 1. But this is why I didn't put them number 1. You can have a great offensive line, but if I'm throwing behind them niggas, it ain't going to matter. So that's why number 1 is obviously Caleb Williams, year 2 quarterback. And I've been dropping a lot of reels about people's expectations on him. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. Y'all been arguing in my mentions for about 72 hours now because of what Mad Dog said. I didn't say that. Mad Dog said that shit. But Caleb Williams is number 1. Caleb has to be really. I thought he had a solid year last year. I thought he had a solid year considering everything he went through. A great year. This the fact that he kept it to himself with all the shitty coaching that was going last year. You got to give it to Caleb. To me, it's less about numbers and more about the eye test with Caleb Williams. Because I think he's going to get the numbers. I think Caleb every year, even if Caleb doesn't reach the heights that scouts thought he was going to reach, teams thought he was going to reach, fans thought he was going to reach it, he thought he was going to reach. He's still, I believe, going to be like a 25-8 guy. He can, like, to me, that's his floor. But can he throw on time? Can he have a healthy balance of using his legs and his arm, which is something I feel like he struggled with last year. I feel like he didn't want to run, but that was something that made him dangerous at USC. Can he be a scripted quarterback as well, which is a big question. We know Caleb likes to go for the home run balls. But what makes Josh Allen great, what makes Patrick Mahomes great, and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow is just as good as they are with making plays, going for the home run play. They're just as great scripted. So can he do that? If you like, we saw the change up with Jared Goff. Jared Goff was never a bad quarterback in LA. I mean, he went to Super Bowls. You can't be a bad quarterback going to the Super Bowl. But when he came to Detroit, he started to be better on script and started learning things like that. And Caleb is 40 times more talented than Jared Goff ever was. So to me, he is the most important Bear of the season, bar none. So, Bang, tell me what you got for your list.
So I'm not mad at your list, but I separated the offensive line because I think there's levels to it. So at 10, I'm starting at Joe Tooney. Not just outside of the contract. He's 32. He went from New England to KC, and now he's with the Bears. Of course, moving from New England, to KC, that's one thing. But KC giving up on you. Are they giving up on him too early, or are they giving up on him just in time? even though you would have had to pay him an enormous amount of money. But also think about this, that he played out of position the majority of last season. So moving back to the position of which he owned, let's see if he still got it. Number 10, I got Darnell Wright. Last year wasn't the best season for him. I know, of course, there's a lot of stuff going on in the offensive line. I don't want to necessarily say he regressed, and you will see how some of these players that I have next to each other connect with each other. But he has to succeed on that right side of the ball in order for Caleb to have the season that we think he could have. Tyreek Stevenson comes in at number 8. I have been a Tyreek Stevenson fan since day one, right? We've talked about this on air. And in this defense, his skills match up because there's going to be a 100%. Lot of man-to-man here. This is the defense that fits him perfectly. So if he can be what he feels like he is, this should be a Pro Bowl season for him if this is the case, because he's not a bad cornerback. He made some forget the whole thing about the Hail Mary. He sometimes can make some questionable decisions, but it's to make a play on the ball. It's not necessarily like just a flat out stupid play type of situation. So in a defense that commands man to man, him and number 7 Jalen Johnson, this should be, when we talk about cornerback duos, they should be a top 5 cornerback duo with Dennis Allen being their defensive coordinator, and Al Harris being the cornerbacks coach.
Yeah.
Like this is, they come in getting talent. If I am those two people, I am licking my chops like, yo, we can really do some things over here. So JJ is my number 7. Number 6 is somebody who I feel like was on his way to having a great season, but hit that wall. But then towards the end of the season, he got back to it. Gavon Dexter Sr. Like, I really, truly believe that they have something. And then this defense, he could play interior and he's going to play on the outside as well. Montez Sweat needs help. And with Billings coming back, Grady Jarrett being there too, Deo coming from Indianapolis, that rotation on the entire defensive line should be great. But Gavon Dexter has to have a monster year to solidify what many people have said he could be in this league. And this is the opportunity with Dennis Allen. Number 5, Montez Sweat. His contract is not comparable to some of the contracts that you're seeing on that defensive inside, and even with some of the contracts that we're talking about. TJ Watt, and Micah Parsons talking about getting $40+ million a year. And yes, he was hurt. I forgot what game it was when they stepped on his shin, and he wasn't healthy ever since. But this is a team and a city that feeds off of defense. And when you look at the legendary defensive ends that we've had, he needs to get that 10, right? He needs to get that. And quite honestly, he might need to get more than that, because if he gets the
I was being generous with the 10.
Yeah.
I was being generous. That's the start right there.
Yeah, because with Allen coming in, and not only that, with the improvement that it seems like some of these people have, and Grady Jarrett coming in as well, like double teams is probably going to be not likely for the most part. He should have a great season. Number 4, Drew Dahlman. We got to solidify that center spot. We had so much, like, when people talk about Caleb, I hate when they had these conversations about Caleb and they don't deliver context. It's not just about the offensive line being bad. It's not having any consistency at center. That is not going to help you as well. And the center is the head coach of the offensive line as well. So you got a lot to talk about on that side of it. But Drew Dahlman, who turned down more money from other teams to come to the Bears, that needs to be solidified. Number 3, Rome Odunze. Like, you'll laugh, I don't have DJ Moore on this list. I don't have DJ Moore on this list.
Well, here's my question. Why don't you have DJ on there?
Because I think that Rome is now the most important wide receiver in that room. Like, DJ Moore got his money, highest paid Bear of all time. All right, that's dope. if everything goes well, he turns into a similar version of some of the smaller like wide receivers that has played the slot and everything and moved around. Luther Burden is more likely to be an outside on the outside than anybody, but at the end of the day, Rome is the young cat. He's the one that you drafted ninth. He's the one to have the high expectations. He's your red zone target outside of the tight end. Like, he has to have the season that is going to get Caleb over 4,000 yards. I think he's the most important wide receiver in that room. He's the most important pass catcher in that room. I don't have Cole Kmet on there, or I don't have Colston Loveland, mainly because I think the offensive line is more important, and I'll even go a little bit into it because of my next pick. But I have Rome number 3. Number 2, left tackle, no name. Whoever's starting at that left tackle spot,
right, exactly,
is number 2, because that is the person that's covering number 1's blind side. And as you notice, I have 4 out of 5 offensive linemen on here. People talk shit about everything that went on on the Bears, and they talk about that offensive line, but when you have the turnover that the offensive liners have, I think that you just spread that apart. Don't put the whole thing on there, because I also believe that this team was talented enough to win at least 7 to 8 games last year. They lost numerous amount of games within the last couple of minutes. And plus, look at the Washington game. I don't think this team is that far off. I think that the offensive line was, but there's different levels to it. And left tackle right now is the most important, because you either come in with a rookie, or you come in with a vet who needs to prove that he's better than said rookie, not just to keep that job, but to get another contract. So there's a lot of motivation on that left side of it. Rookie or somebody that's fighting for another contract with this team. And yeah, number 1 is Caleb Williams, by far. Everything on paper looks great for him. Offensive line is much improved. New starters on all but one position. And Pro Bowl type of players on there, either Pro Bowlers or Pro Bowl type players. With Ozzie coming in from Boston College, he has great pedigree. And we beat up on Braxton Jones, but he's been serviceable and stuff. And a lot of people are not necessarily talking about the depth behind that offensive line as well. They did not got started. They did not just improved on the starters. They may be improved with these swing tackles and these swing guards as well. Then you have Rome, and you have Luther Burden coming in. You got DJ Moore, who you can float around. You have Colston Loveland, and you have Cole Kmet. And then you have, as you said, the battery in the back for DeAndre Swift was Rashawn Johnson used the wrong way. You got the rookie coming in from Rutgers. So you have a pretty decent running back room. The thing is that there's a lot of questions around the skill positions. Like, even though we have people up in there's a lot of questions about the skill positions. I was looking at ESPN earlier today, and they ranked the Bears skill position players as top 25, and they specifically talked about the offensive side of the ball. Caleb is the one that's going to have to make them better. Caleb is going to make Rome Odunze a star. He's going to make Colston Loveland or Cole Kmet a star. He's going to show how consistent that DJ Moore is. He's the one that's going to make Luther Burden a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. And him getting the ball out quicker is going to make that offensive line better. But you have an experienced offensive line as well. That's going to be the difference too. Outside of that left tackle position, depending on where you go, you have an experienced offensive line. So you're going to have just going to be able to turn around and tell you, hey, Rook, or not Rook, but hey, Caleb, like, look. Boom, 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 boom. So that's my top 10. Multiple offensive line positions, defense, people that I didn't put up in there that deserve some recognition in this. Jaquan Brisker, can he stay healthy? Even I can't pronounce my man last name, but a lot of people are talking about the rookie Ruben. However you pronounce his last name. I don't want to pronounce his last name wrong.
Yeah, I don't pronounce his last name wrong. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
But a lot of people
that's interesting too, because he might get a shot. That's why I'm really interested to see what these camp battles are going to be like. Because Ben has been adamant in every media session we've had saying there ain't no depth chart. Like,
Yeah.
there ain't no depth chart. Everybody gonna have to work for this.
Yeah.
I think it's Mongai. I think his name is Cal Mongai. I think that's his name.
No, Cal Mungai is the running back.
Yeah. You're not talking about the
Yeah.
running back. You talking about the
I'm talking about the linebacker.
Oh, you talking about the linebacker? You talking about
Ruben.
Shakir?
Nah, Ruben, the guy that they picked in the 4th round.
Let me Google that, man. Because I don't even know.
Oh man.
I thought you were talking about the running back, Ruben, Chicago Bears.
I can't pronounce my man's last name.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Ruben because they sent me to Ruben Brown.
What's his name? I thought my man's name was Ruben. I feel bad if my man's name ain't Ruben. I feel bad if my name ain't Ruben. But whatever my man's name is, they've been talking about my man heavily in the goddamn Ruben Hippolyte.
Okay, Hippolyte.
I ain't want to pronounce my man's last name wrong, like Hippolyte or something like that. But yeah, like they've been every time I turn on the TV and somebody says who's a Bear that might surprise somebody, they've been doing this since training camp, since rookie camp. They've been talking about how this kid is fast, how this kid from Maryland, how this kid is fast, how this kid gets around the ball, how he adds speed to the linebacker position, how he was not picked to go to the combine, and a lot of people felt like he would be a undrafted free agent, but the Bears picked him 4th in the 4th round, and people were saying like how that might be a reach. But then when you hear things about the preseason, you hear them at I think it was Ben Johnson who said at the press conference, if it was a rookie he mentioned him. Courtney Cronin was on ESPN this morning, and they was talking about the Bears, and she mentioned his name. Like every time I turn around and somebody mentions a rookie outside of Luther Burden, who wasn't healthy during OTAs, and outside of Ozzie, they talk about him. So when you look at the linebacker position, you got Tremaine Edwards and you got TJ Moore who got an extension. But Jack Sanborn, they just let go. Like Jack Sanborn, who was everybody's favorite, especially white people, was like, yo, we let him go with no tender. And then you went and drafted a 4th round pick. You said he's speedy and all of that stuff, but then next thing you know, he's somebody that you talked about. So you have somebody like him. After that, I think everything else is solid for the most part. So, no, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Bears, but that's my top 10. Spreading out them offensive linemen. I would have put all of them, but I think some of them are more important than others in this situation.
That's a good point. I want a bunch of them niggas. I want all y'all to do y'all fucking jobs because I've had enough. But I will say this as we close this episode. I think that who I think is in the best position on the offensive side right now? Luther Burden. Because ain't no pressure. Like he didn't go out there and take he is going to be more open than he has been in his entire football career, down to fucking Pop Warner to now. Because you got DJ Moore, you got Roma Dunza, you got the number 1 pick, Coastal Lovely, you got Cole Kmet, you got DeAndre Swift, who is a pass catching back. You're gonna be wide the fuck open. So all I ask of you is to catch the ball, and make plays when your number is called, because that can make this offense great to very, very dangerous when you got to figure out how to guard a guy like Luther Burden. So, and I think it's gonna be a little slow for him because he's been out with a hamstring since rookie mini camp. He will be ready for camp, is what Coach Johnson told us. So we'll get to that, man. But this has been part 3 of the 79th Halas off-season series with me and Bang. We about to do part 4 right now. So check it out. We up out of here.